everyone. Welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. It is Junk Journal Friday, and that means we are in a premiere. There's a chat room right next to this video. So come on in. If you're doing this on the live, come on in and say hello. I may or may not be in the chat room today. I am driving to Springfield for a writers conference for this weekend. I had hoped to leave early enough this morning that I could get someplace where I was at a stopping point that I could be here. So if I'm not in the chat room, you'll know I didn't make it. I didn't get out of here in time. Usually happens. I'm going to try and keep my information straight. I am recording this on Sunday. This week has been or will have been super crazy by the time you're seeing this video. So, if this is Junk Journal Friday, why are we looking at a card making and paper crafting magazine? I have the answer. I started my subscription for a couple of different UK magazines, craft magazines, back in 2016, and I have them all. That's a lot of magazines. I think I have maybe 5 magazine holders filled with these, and I'm going to leave a link to my blog post about this in the description box below. But I've got to start clearing out. I've got to start purging this craft room or nothing's going to get done. So what I did was I went through and I picked out what I wanted out of each magazine, made a couple of copies of some things I wanted to make sure I could go back and play with, and then I'm donating the magazines to a local thrift store. Now, what is so special about these magazines? First off, it's less expensive if you subscribe than if you pick them up on the newsstand. I think they're now running about $15.99 per issue in the United States. But if you subscribe, you get a bi-monthly subscription for like $28 for the entire year. And each magazine comes with stamps, a stamp set, embossing folder, dies, or a combination of all three, as well as specialty papers, magazine thickness papers on the inside of the magazine, lots of card ideas, lots of tips and techniques, and I just love them. I just can't do it anymore. So I've gone through and copied out, like I said, just a little bit of what I wanted out of each one, and then I'm donating the magazines, and I've gone from those 5 magazine holders to a 1-inch notebook and a shoebox to hold the stamp sets. So here's an example of the stamp set that I'm working with. This is Be Happy by Dovecraft. Now, one of the things that's cool about when you get stamp sets in like Paper Pumpkin or the magazines, those are created specifically for that publication or that box, and you're not going to find them anywhere else. Now, with Stampin' Up! Down the road, they've been taking leftover kits and adding them into their kit collection, but you don't get the stamps and stuff with those either. The stamps and stuff are just for that magazine or limited edition kind of thing. So this particular one, Be Happy by Dovecraft, came with 6 stamps, the bee die, and an embossing folder, and 4 foiled papers. And I have a sample of those here. We had a honeycomb pattern with bees in their gold foil. We had a larger sheet of just honeycomb. And then there was this one with Be Happy, Be Beautiful, Honey, Honey. So there were those 3 foiled papers. And then there was this one, but it wasn't a foiled paper. And I don't know if I will use this one. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use this one in this kit, because it's more of a peachy tone and just flowers. It almost has a wallpaper pattern look to it. So I'm probably not going to use this one. But as you can see, I've been going through these pretty quickly. Most of them in the projects I'm going to show you today. So with these in mind, I used these items. I'm just going to lay these over here and try not to lose that little bitty bee on that stamp set, because I did that once already. So here are the ideas that I was playing with. And this was the first one. Now, United Kingdom cards are usually 6x6 squares. Chances are you're not putting a 6x6 square in your journal, so you need to modify it a little bit. So taking it down to a smaller size is not going to allow all three of these to fit, but doesn't mean you can't incorporate the idea. Use it as a jumping off point. And I did with this one here. I went down to a 4 1/4 size. I kept the triangles in the corners using the papers they gave me. The black scallop is cut from Stampin' Up! Layering Circles, the second smallest scallop circle. I stamped the bee on Whisper White cardstock using Memento Tuxedo Black, and then I colored him in. I colored his body part in with the dark So Saffron alcohol marker stamping blends from Stampin' Up! And then I went back over his wings with Wink Stella to get a little bit more shimmer in there. And I made 3 of those. Simple and quick. Not all exactly like this, but it's a good replica for a junk journal size. Okay. Then I went to this one. And I like the layering here. So I went in and I did this. I brought in some of the specialty paper with the bees on it in a small strip. I brought in a piece of the embossing folder, and then I used the smallest scallop circle, and I layered the bee. By layering the bee, I cut him out once in the gold foil paper, and then I stamped him on Whisper White in the Memento Tuxedo Black, but then I cut the wings off, so I had just the body to layer into the center of this. So we have the black traditional body with the gold wings. I added in the color, and then I also went over the body with the Wink Stella for a little bit more shimmer. Now, here's the tip that I had for this. If you'll notice, you can see the indentation of this embossing folder really well. In this piece, not as much. If you'll notice, this side is a little darker. And the way I did that was I took the raised part of the embossing folder and I brushed it with the Bumblebee ink before I did the embossing, and that pressed the ink down into the impression and let that impression pop out a little bit more. And then I've raised him up on with a dimensional, and there are 3 of those. Now I'm going to come back to this idea for the next one because I really liked the idea of using the honeycomb or the nest. So I did this in a 3, and I started out with a 3 1/4 square so that my black came down to 3 inches. I tore a piece of the larger honeycomb paper and I tore it all around and distressed it with the Bumblebee ink. Used the second smallest scallop circle, and then I stamped the nest on the Bumblebee cardstock with the black ink. But then I went back over it with our Stampin' Up! Shimmery Crystal Effects to really let it pop. It's like, God, now I can't think of it. Well, it's Crystal Effects, but this has a shimmery tone to it. And then I stamped this little teeny tiny bee out in the black and fussy cut him out and popped him up on a small dimensional right next to the hive. And there are 3 of those. Okay, so if you'll notice here, I think I counted there was like 11 different card ideas. 1, 2, 3. This could almost be the cover of a small journal. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But they also had a tag with a pocket. I may still come back and do this one yet. So don't overlook your card making and scrapbooking magazines when it comes to ideas for your corner tucks and your pockets. This would be small enough even to do a like a matchbook notebook, flip up, or even just to do a flip up with a notepad underneath, put it on the base to do a waterfall, anything like that from a card magazine. Okay, now the other thing I have to show you is, you know that I've been participating in Kara Brandon Creations Jump Ahead June mask making project, and for week 2 we had to make 20 tags. And I'm going to leave a link to the blog post in the description box below for the master board. And if I can, I'm going to try and insert a picture into this of the master board that I created. But from that master board, I had 20 tags. And all I did was cover a 12 by 12 sheet of the bumblebee paper with bits and pieces torn of the music paper and all the other papers that I'm using in the bumblebee journal. And then cut them out. I started with 2-inch strips because 2-inch strips are what fit in these retired Stampin' Up! Punches. This is a scallop tag topper, and I don't have this one labeled, but I have 2 different styles of toppers there, and the largest width is 2 inches. So that's what I based what I would do those on. And then I went back to some smaller ones, and these only take, the largest takes 1 inch. So these are inch wide tags. Actually, they were just a hair wider, and that's why you'll notice the top is off on some of these. But that's okay. We're just going to stick some words and embellishments on them and stick them in pockets anyway, so no biggie. So these were created from a master board. If you've not done collaging before, it's really simple. Just tear up papers and glue them down. And if you're working on a specific project like I was here, then you have a general theme to start with when it comes to choosing the papers and whatnot that you're going to put down. And I'm going to leave a link to Marguerite Miller's video down below about doing a collage, a master board. I'm in some of her trade groups. Love Marguerite. She's a really neat gal. And she makes it simple. She takes the fear out of doing stuff like collaging. So I'm going to leave the link for her videos down below as well. That is going to do it for me today. By now you have heard my news. You have seen my Make It cards for this week. I am done for about the next 7 days. I probably will not be on. By the time you see this, as I said, I'll be in Springfield. I get home on Sunday. Bob and I have a little bit of time on Monday to finish up some stuff around the house before his mother arrives on Tuesday. She will leave on Thursday, and by then I'm just going to be ready to sit and chill with Bob. Doesn't mean there may not be a video next Friday, but I will put the usual notices up around on my Facebook page, Spectrum Arts Creations page, Scrapbooking with Julie. The notices will go up so you can find me and you'll know if there's going to be a video or not. I'll try to keep you posted. In the meantime, I just need to spend some time with Bob, and because it seems like last time he was home just flew by and we didn't get any time at all together. So by the time I get this house ready for his mother's visit, and they've been here and gone, I'm going to be ready to just chill, and I hope you'll understand that. In the meantime, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and creative blessings.